When Michael and Laura first got married, everything seemed like the perfect picture of love. He was a dedicated husband, hardworking and dependable, and she was the kind of wife who always made him feel like home was the safest place in the world. They had been together for nearly a decade, and during those years they built not only a life together, but also dreams of the future. Michael often thought about how lucky he was to have found Laura, the woman who made him feel like he could conquer anything. Yet, like many long relationships, time has a way of testing love, and small cracks began to appear where there once was perfection. Laura had always been honest about her adventurous personality. She loved excitement, spontaneity, and the thrill of trying something new. Michael, on the other hand, was the steady type, the man who planned vacations months in advance, the one who budgeted every dollar so they could afford their home and future goals. At first, their differences balanced them out. He grounded her, and she lifted him up. But over time, Laura began to feel as if something was missing. It wasn't that Michael didn't love her. He did deeply. It was that she sometimes wanted a kind of excitement he couldn't always provide. One evening, as they sat at their kitchen table after dinner, Laura spoke words that Michael never thought he would hear. "Michael," she said softly, her hands trembling as she held her glass of water, "I need to tell you something, and I don't want you to hate me for it." Michael, sensing the seriousness in her voice, leaned forward. "What is it?" he asked. Her eyes darted away, and she whispered, "I've always had this dream about being with someone else, just one night. Nothing more. Just to know what it's like. It wouldn't mean I don't love you. It's just something I feel I need to do, and then it will be out of my system." At first, Michael thought he misheard her. His heart pounded in disbelief. "Are you saying you want to have an affair?" His voice cracked, half in shock and half in anger. Laura reached across the table and grabbed his hand. "Not an affair," she insisted. "Not a long-term thing. Just one night. With someone I've always admired, someone I've thought about. After that, I'll come back, and it will just be us again. I'll never bring it up again. Please, Michael, don't look at me like I'm the worst person in the world." Michael pulled his hand back, feeling as though the ground had collapsed beneath him. He loved this woman more than anything, and here she was asking for permission to betray their vows. He didn't answer right away. That night, he barely slept, turning over her words in his mind. Was this something he could allow? Could their marriage survive if he said yes? Or would refusing her push her further away? His chest tightened with the weight of the decision. The next day, Laura assured him again. "It's only one night, Michael. I'll always be yours. But if I don't do this, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering." Against his own instincts, Michael found himself nodding, more out of fear of losing her completely than out of acceptance. "If this is what you think you need," he whispered, "then I won't stop you." The moment he said it, regret filled his stomach like heavy stones. Laura didn't waste time. Within days, she arranged to meet the man she had always fantasized about, a colleague from years ago, someone she had never pursued but always admired from afar. She told Michael it would be one evening, and then she would return, and things would go back to normal. Michael sat in their living room the night she left, staring at the clock. Every tick was like a hammer in his head. He tried reading, watching television, even walking around the house, but nothing could quiet the storm inside him. His imagination ran wild, picturing Laura with someone else, laughing, touching, sharing the kind of closeness that was supposed to be reserved for him. When she came home early the next morning, Laura was quiet. She slipped into bed without much explanation. Michael pretended to be asleep, but he lay there with his eyes wide open, his chest tight. The woman he loved had gone to another man, and even though she told him it was just a one-night thing, it didn't feel like something that could be erased. The silence between them in the days that followed was unbearable. Michael wanted to ask questions, to scream, to demand details, but he also feared the answers would destroy him further. Eventually, Laura broke the silence. "Michael, it's over. It was just one night, like I said. I'm back now, and I want us to move forward. I love you." Her words sounded sincere, but to Michael, they felt hollow. Something inside him had shifted. He could not unsee the betrayal, nor could he pretend it had never happened. He wanted to forgive her, but forgiveness didn't come easily. Instead, he began to distance himself. He went to work earlier, came home later, and when he was home, he often retreated into silence. Laura noticed, of course. She tried to pull him back, cooking his favorite meals, suggesting date nights, even apologizing over and over. But Michael had already begun planning his next move. Deep inside, he felt he had two choices. Either allow the bitterness to consume him until their marriage collapsed, or take control of his life again. He decided on the latter. One evening, after Laura had gone to bed, Michael sat in the living room and wrote a letter. In it, he explained everything he felt, the pain, the betrayal, and the realization that their marriage could no longer survive. He thanked her for the good years, acknowledged that he still loved her in some way, but admitted that trust was the foundation of love, and that foundation had been broken beyond repair. He ended the letter with words that made his hands tremble. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. I need to find myself again, away from the shadows of what happened. The next morning, Michael packed a bag, left the letter on the kitchen counter, and walked out the door. He didn't slam it, didn't make a scene. He simply left. When Laura woke up and read the letter, she burst into tears. She called him dozens of times, but he didn't answer. He needed space, and more than that, he needed freedom. Michael drove for hours, ending up in a small coastal town miles away from home. There, he rented a modest apartment and started over. For the first time in years, he felt the strange mixture of loneliness and liberation. He joined a local gym, made new friends, and even started painting again, a hobby he had abandoned when life became too busy. Slowly, he built a life that belonged entirely to him, without the weight of betrayal hanging over his every thought. Laura tried reaching out for months. She sent letters, emails, and voicemails filled with apologies and pleas for him to come back. But Michael didn't return. He knew going back would mean living with the ghost of her choices, and he refused to be haunted. Instead, he focused on rebuilding his self-respect and his dreams. Over time, the sharpness of the pain dulled, though the scar remained. What?